Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzuoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net. Steve, from time to time, we are lucky enough to get to sit down with some pretty, famous and important people. And we recently got the chance to talk with someone who literally has spent their lives around business, wealth, and, of course, big decisions. We got to sit down recently with Donald Trump Jr., believe it or not, at Mar-a-Lago. We asked him about something that impacts just about all of us at some point. Of course, I'm talking about retirement.
Start planning for it. Again, there's so many unknowns that happen in life that you can't plan for. You may want to work forever and you may think you're going to be able to, and then, something happens, an accident, a health problem, whatever it may be. So you got to plan for that. There's so much you can do with proper planning to avoid taxes and whatever it may be, to be able to make sure that, the things that you created oftentimes as a family actually ends up in the hands of that family and not the government. You definitely have to plan for that and stay ahead.
Well, the one thing that I picked up on there, he says plan a few times. That's a word we say here all the time. And listen, a lot of folks say do what the wealthy do. Well, if Donald Trump Jr. is talking about planning early, I think we should follow some advice, Steve.
Listen, that's what separates wealthy people from regular people, is having the means, having the money, or getting the money, but then keeping it, planning it, investing it the right way, looking at all types of opportunities. And he mentioned plan. And that's the best thing. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people out there going, come on, Steve, it's Donald Trump Jr. He's probably not going to have a financial worry for the rest of his life. And you may be correct, on that. But the reason he probably won't have any issues is obviously his father was pretty wealthy, but he built an empire, one building at a time, one golf course at a time. And it took many years to do what they did. And if you don't stay on top of it, and if you don't plan properly, it can all go away. We've seen major companies over the years fail. Companies that you thought were too big to fail have fallen apart and have gone to nothing. And you have to be watchful. And that's why when I meet with people, I say, look, you got to keep an eye. It's great that you're saving the money in the 401k and IRAs and all that stuff, but you got to keep an eye on it, and you got to plan out the money, plan the income. And that's the key. And I'm glad that he brought it up that way and talked about the plan, because that's what the wealthy, and not just the wealthy, but the more successful people I meet do. They all come in and they say, Steve, here's what I got. Here's what's going on, and I need a little guidance here or here. So I find that's common with a lot of those type of folks.
Yeah, I mean, and really the bottom line is whether you are rich and famous, wealthy, all those things, or you're just an everyday like Steve and I and you listening here today, it's all important to plan, right? To be organized, especially because you want to make sure that plan is going to hold up even when maybe life doesn't go according to the plan that you had in mind, right? That's when you got to start making some tweaks and all that. Yeah,
I mean, look, I got to meet Tim Allen in 2022, I think it was, Jess, at Pebble Beach. Are you kidding me? He was awesome, and we had a long talk, interview, and he went through some tough times, but he came out, in the end, he came out on top. He just stuck to his guns and his plan, and he's got another show out now, so he's doing great now. But adversity can affect everyone differently, and for some people, it's too much. And for other people, they adapt, overcome, and move on. And that's the attitude that I take, is to, look, I expect adversity to always be around the corner. Okay, that's just life. But the way you react to it is how it's going to determine your success. I used to say this to my kid years ago, your attitude determines your altitude. I said that to him many years ago when he was in junior high, I think, because he kind of got in trouble one day, and I'm like, wow, he's a chip off the old block. And I went in and I had a chat, and I says, listen, you got to start thinking about what you're doing and how things are going to react.
Got to stay positive, keep looking forward, be proactive, not reactive. Right. If you're wondering, how do I do that? How do I get this plan in place? Much like Steve's talking about, and of course, Donald Trump Jr. is talking about here. Give a call today. We'll do that personalized income plan for you. Again, complimentary and custom to you. That's 508-552-3230. 508-552-3230. More details at fairwayfinancial.net. More here with Donald Trump Jr. You know, not everyone gets to grow up learning the ins and outs of money. That's why some of the most valuable lessons come from literally the ground up. And again, when we recently chatted with Donald Trump Jr., he shared how his father made sure that he learned business the hard way. And he's talking about going back to basics here.
His theory was really simple. It was a lot of common sense, which these days we all know is not too common. But it was, hey, if one day you're going to go build a building, you better know how to dig the foundation. You better know what it costs to actually do these things. You better know how much time it takes, because otherwise someone's just going to screw you blind if they just think, you're just the guy in the gilded office with no understanding of what's going on. You're going to get taken advantage of. And so I learned so much more, and we really were, raised by like construction workers far more than the executives. He said, there'll be plenty of time for the executive stuff once you get out of college. But when you're young and you get those formative years, you're going to live with those tough guys that'll actually make you tough.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, right? I mean, if you're leading the charge on something, you better know every position and how it works and everything else. And, in retirement planning, lots of folks out there, they may claim to be, but listen, they're not. They're not the professionals. They're not the experts. And that's why they hire somebody like you, Steve, a financial professional. So how do you help somebody who's starting from scratch, literally the ground up here? How do you help them get comfortable with their plan and also do this without overwhelming them?
Yeah, that is a challenge. Most of the people I meet are fairly established in their 401ks and whatnot. But sometimes I get younger people who will call, and it kind of impresses me when I have someone in their 40s calling me about retirement planning. And I just try to guide them like I do my kids and say, look, stick with the basics. You got a 401k at work, use it, take advantage of it, save that way. Try to save a little outside of that, too, to build up an emergency account that you need, especially if you have a family. I just try to, keep it basic and stick to the tried and true methodologies. And sometimes I'm not going to bring them in and help them internally, but I can offer some, again, wisdom and some advice that I share with my kids to try to help them save and do the things they got to do. So that's kind of how I work with that situation, Jess. But again, most of the people who call me have plans in place, and they just need guidance because they feel like they're rudderless, having just a pile in a 401k and a pile over here, maybe some in the bank. My job is to help them understand how all that money can work together.
And that really is the goal, right? Pulling all those different puzzle pieces. How is everything going to work together? Well, Steve, that's where you come in. Again, applying over 30 years of experience and creating these personalized custom income plans just for you from the ground up, not overwhelming you, making it easy to understand, because once you have that education, guys, you're empowered to build your financial future along with Steve. Again, if you'd like to sit down for that custom and personalized income plan, call today, 508-552-3230, 508-552-3230. That website, of course, fairwayfinancial.net. So if you watch sports, you probably have seen a commercial for Pacific Life. They're the ones with like the big fancy whales. It's a really beautiful logo, all the things. Pac Life recently announced that annuities are back. Steve, I didn't know that annuities left. Did we miss something? They exited the party and nobody saw them. What happened?
Well, I think they realized the importance of annuities, and they used to do a lot of annuities back in the early 90s. They were a big player. But a lot of companies, a lot of big financial companies that everyone knows that are household names, also are recognizing the importance of annuities. And annuities can solve that problem. So why wouldn't they want to talk about those as part of the overall plan? And to me, that just makes sense, really good sense. And that's what these big companies do. They understand the needs and of what consumers have to have, or should have, I should say. And they're definitely bringing up that A word again, big time. And in my book, annuities never left. They've been a cornerstone of what we do. They've provided great lifetime income. They've provided greater peace of mind for my clients. I have clients call in all the time and say, hey, Steve, I'm so happy we did what we did with you. I'm retired. I'm fishing. I'm doing my thing. I'm not worried about running out of income. And that's really good, because obviously you've got other things to worry about. You got the health insurance costs and everything else. So let's not worry about your cash flow. But I brought this up earlier fear of loss is just a huge thing. It's an emotion, and we are all emotional beings. So it's very common that when, let's face it, when the Iran war happened and started again, everybody started freaking out when they saw the market dropping. I mean, who's kidding who? And we're all like, oh, God, here we go. And then it leveled off and came back. And now gas is, up there ridiculous again. There's always something, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And the last thing you want is running out of money. We don't want that fear to exist with all your money. So we want to try to help you alleviate that. And annuities have improved over the years. Okay, these are not your father's annuities. These things are flexible. Some of these use the S&P 500 as an indicator of how much interest to give you on a year-by-year basis. And by the way, those same products have a stop loss of 0, so you can never lose money on the index. So meaning if it goes up 8%, you get it. If it goes negative 20, you stay right where you were. So that helps ease the risk of the market. And guaranteed income has never gone out of style, Jess, ever. There's not one person I've talked to in 40 years that has said to me, guaranteed income isn't important, Steve. I'm good.
I don't need that. Yeah.
I'm independently wealthy. I hang out with Warren Buffett and all that stuff. I haven't met those folks. I mean, I'm sure they're out there. They're just not really in my world. So everybody wants guaranteed income. So how do we get there? Well, we plan. We have to build the bucket of the 401k first. I get it. And then once you get to that magical 59 and a half age, you can expand and you can look at other alternatives. Or if you have other monies outside the 401k and 403b, you can also use that money to do it too. But the key, as always, is to never, ever have all your eggs in one basket, no matter how good that basket looks, because things can change. The economy can change. Needs can change. Marital situations can change. I mean, all kinds of things go on in life. So you need to have some flexibility is what I'm getting at. So our goal is to take the guesswork, I guess, because if you go online and you just Google retirement planning, you're going to go down some rabbit holes and you're going to be more confused than when you started. It can really be an intimidating avenue. So that's why, with all my years in the articles I've written, and the information we have on our website for you regarding, well, you name it, Social Security, annuities, all this type of planning, we are a source of information for you. In the book I wrote a few years back is an excellent source for understanding how the process works, because we cover everything: Social Security, pensions, 401ks, 403bs, Roth conversions, all that stuff. And we try to make as much sense of it as we can. But we're here for you. We're your coach. We're your back room is what I'm getting at, because even the do-it-yourselfers, Jess, have been calling us lately.
Good. They should be.
Well, listen, they've done well, don't get me wrong, and I'm impressed with what they've done. But even they realize, look, I don't know all this other stuff. I've done okay in the market, feel pretty confident with doing certain things, but I don't know about all these other plans, Steve. So just give me some info. Give me a little bit of coaching, if you will. And what I find is most people need that. Some people need more, but most people just need a little push in the right direction, I guess. And that's what we're here to do, is to guide you in the right direction, to help you. Again, it's all about gaining greater confidence.
Get more details on the website fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzuoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzuoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzuoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzuoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.